sida beerdan xiisoo daawashada ku caano webiyaan durduuriyo عياك أبكر These people live in Bristol. Some of the children have never been out of the city until today. For some of them, this is the first hill they've ever climbed. The first cows they've ever encountered. The first sheep. That's it now. The first goat they've ever seen. Also, the hill is quite steep and there's no lift. This is the beginning of a new relationship between an inner-city Somali community and a farm with a difference. The visitors have come to spend 3 days of Ramadan on Hanging Held Farm in Wales, which specialises in providing a Degmo for people who would otherwise know much less of their own roots and heritage. A Degmo is a cluster of family encampments, traditionally erected by Somalian nomads tending their livestock. Families living in African towns would send their children to the countryside during school holidays to stay with their nomadic relations. The children would be naturally imbued with the ethos, morals, and nomadic culture, which has contributed so much to the Somali identity. Such traditions can be impossible living in the city. The Degmo can help to remind us.
I'm from Somalia, but actually I never been to Somalia. Everything was new for me, you know. Even to milk the goat is new for me. You know, the food and fresh food, you know, so different, you know, from the city. And walking up the hill, down the hill, oh my God, it's killing, but it's exercise. Happy, yes, happy. And I said, oh, I want to sit down now, 2 minutes. Yeah.
It's a raspberry, well done. But this one's a tasty raspberry. You frosting.
Hamish Wilson is the founder of Degmo. He runs it with his wife, Nell. Hamish has spent many years living in Africa amongst Somali nomads, and his family connection with Somalia goes back to the 1930s.
It's the first time I've seen a hill. I've just had to nurse one little boy down the side of what to us is a normal hill for fear that he was going to fall off and break his neck. He'd never actually been on a hill before. So it's not a matter of not having seen a goat, it's a matter of not actually having seen a landscape outside of a city centre. You have a problem with your kidneys? Called burdock. But there's also something else. And in many instances, there are direct comparisons with how people would have lived on this land before the Industrial Revolution, where there wasn't the availability of pharmaceutical products that you could go to a chemist and purchase, but where people had to use the resources that they found around them, much more so than they do today. The Somalis still have that ability, and they have it in abundance. You can chart the progress. When people arrive, especially amongst 12-year-olds, sort of early teens, there's a general sort of, oh, we don't want to be here. Where can I charge my phone? Where's my KFC? And all that sort of stuff. But within an hour or two of having lit the fire, cup of tea inside them, got used to the fact that there are sheep everywhere, that there are no roads, no cars, the sheer unusualness of the experience begins to dawn on them. We see extremely dramatic changes. The changes vary within groups and from group to group. Some respond quicker, but by the end of every visit we have achieved a noticeable change in attitude, behaviour and well-being. The other change we often see is they begin to re-evaluate how they feel about themselves and their origins.
Try not to scare the sheep too much, thanks.
That's it now.
No.
Under the chin. Under the chin.
Under the chin.
You're not doing anything. That's it. Good boy. Well done. That's it. Now let him go.
They made pizzas and special things that Somalis eat, which I don't know the name for it, and it was great. Although I was fasting the first day. At night you can walk around and scare people off because it's really dark, and tell them that there's a fogs around and be careful. I was a bit scared last night, because I saw these little insects and I thought there were gonna be lots of them, and but then I went to sleep again. But it was very nice. It was warm and comfortable. Somali teenagers some of them don't know their culture, and most of them were born here, and they don't know lots of things about Somalia, and they need to come here to learn more.
This one is running this way and it's growing up. So normally in the winter time, in the old days, everybody would cut the hedge so that you take each branch and you half cut it and then you bend it down. You see this one has been bent down. And then they grow upwards. And by doing that you create a living hero, a living fence. We call a hedge. So on our farm you will see lots and lots of these hedges. But the other special thing is that these particular trees that have grown so big now, these are actually hazelnut trees. The squirrel has been testing it and eating the nut inside. But in the old days, these nuts were collected by the people and they provided them with protein through the winter. And what's also interesting is in Somalia, in the Somali region, the Remi do the same thing. So all these trees, if we can keep the squirrels off them, you actually get really nice hazelnuts. But we had one boy the other day, came from Coventry, and he said, which ones have got chocolate on? Because the only hazelnut he'd ever seen was inside a chocolate plant.
The full experience at Degmo includes a look at sheep shearing and the traditional uses of wool and lanolin. They also make cheese, bread and subag, a ghee similar to butter that doesn't melt in the heat. Later tonight, Somali poetry, song and dance will bring more than entertainment. For the children especially, this time away from their normal environment is a huge and unforgettable learning experience. Discovering connections with a Somali rural lifestyle right here on a wild Welsh hillside.
The next dramatic step is when we manage to get them to the top of the hill, as we've just done. When they get to the top, that sense of achievement, it's so basic, and yet that is also a step change.
And all these visitors have experienced what the Somali city dwellers in Africa understand. That visiting the countryside is also a cleansing, beneficial experience. It's essential. This little corner of Britain is now associated with unique memories of space, calm, new tastes, an enormous sky, and what kids in the country will always do on the top of a hill, lean on the wind.
Here's the bird. I found two. The one I ate, the other one got squashed and I ate it. Yeah, here's one. It's a very interesting berry. It's very hard to find, by the way. So it's blending in with the colour, kind of. It's very small to find.
The kids now, they have something to talk, our background. They know a lot of different things they don't know before. For example, the animals and the environment, the place. It looks like our country. Yes, amazing. Everything is amazing here. I can't explain more, but I feel inside. Yeah, lovely place.
What Imayla does feeds directly into what we're trying to achieve, which is to create within the Somali community a strong sense of identity, but also better integration, so that Somalis can be confident in who they are, and achieve far, far more. We want Somalis to lead healthy, happy, fruitful lives here and be absolutely certain as to who they are.